What is going on, my friends? Mike Walker here. Hey, I'm excited to share with you a new insight from my book, The Exceptional Experience. The purpose of this is really just to give you kind of a behind the scenes look, or better yet, an inside the pages look at some of the tactics, the strategies, the methodologies, and ultimately the frameworks, things that are first principle based, meaning that they're not going to fade away in time. They're not going to become, something that doesn't work later. Technology is moving really quick, right? That's no secret. And the reality is that the human experience, regardless of what you think about AI, regardless of what you are implementing into your business with technology, which I hope you are, ultimately, the business of business is relationships, and relationships are a human component. They are an energetic frequency exchange of value, interest, trust, and respect. And these are the things that are the currency of relationships, the currency of relationships. Now, the interesting thing that we are seeing, and I'm sure you've probably heard of this already, is that we are rapidly entering a era of what they're calling the subscription economy, essentially meaning that more and more services and even products are shifting towards more of a monthly reoccurring or some kind of membership component. And the reason why is because it's only getting harder and more expensive to attract clients. So when you have a client, when you finally secure that one client, you want to make sure that you lengthen the lifetime value and you increase the lifetime value of that client. Now, that's not rocket science. Mike, I know all this stuff. Great. I'm glad you do. But here's the thing, there are some subtle nuances as we get into the subscription economy that I think a lot of people are probably just simply not aware of. They're just so focused on acquisition. I need more clients. I need more clients, which is great. We help you do that. Client Bloom's got you covered on that too. But you also need to keep the ones you already got, because here's the thing is there's a lot of businesses, unfortunately, probably the majority of businesses out there are literally on a hamster wheel. They're bleeding 20, 30, or 40% or even more of their client base every single year. So even though they are increasing spend, increasing the time, effort, energy, and money to go get new clients, they're literally just bleeding out the back of their business all of the other clients that just simply didn't have a good experience, or maybe they did, but there's no ongoing path. There was no future pathway to stay with the business. And this is a really sad part because so many businesses do a great job. They go above and beyond to wow the client, to provide a great experience and deliver the value and create the experience or the transformation that was promised at the point of sale, right? Great. I hope you do. But you can still deliver an amazing experience and still have a client leave. And that, my friends, is the frustrating part. And if you've ever been on that side of the equation, you know what I'm talking about. What do you mean you're leaving? Literally last month, we had the best month for you ever. Like, we did the best ever. You got the best results that you've ever had with us. And then you have the client saying, no, I know it's not about you guys. We're just looking for something fresh and new and different, blah, blah, blah. And you're just thinking like, what's going on, right? These are all things that you can actually get in front of. But by the time you have a client saying, hey, it's been great, but I'm going to go a different way, it's too late. That decision was not made that day. It was not made the day before. It was probably made weeks or even months prior, but just in a subtle, like building blocks style fashion. You just didn't see it early enough. And that's the entire intent of, our Client Bloom solution, clientbloom.ai. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. But the purpose of this video is to extrapolate some of the insights from this book, specifically as we get into the subscription economy. And one of the things I like to highlight with clients right away is that if you have any kind of reoccurring or ongoing experience with a client, especially in any kind of like monthly retainer or subscription model, every month is a sales decision. Every single month is a brand new sales, opportunity for you to realize that they're evaluating, they're considering, they're looking at all the different options that are in the marketplace, right? So what do we do about that? Do we just keep hammering our client with sales messages? No, of course not. But what we do need to do is paint the picture forward. What does it look like to work with us 30 days, 60 days, 90 days into the future? I'm a huge proponent with our high ticket clients. We always work on what we call QBRs, quarterly business reviews. Now, what's the purpose of this? It's twofold. Number one, I want to help paint the future for somebody because I can't expect them to stay and keep paying us a retainer to help them scale their business if they don't have a clear vision in their mind's eye of what good looks like, right? I may have the most beautiful Miro boards and action plan and strategy and all these things that I'm going to implement. But if they don't see that for themselves, I can't expect them to stay. They don't see it, right? Where vision lacks, like people perish, right? They need the vision. They need to see the light at the end of the tunnel. What does good look like 60 or better yet 90 days in advance? And so we use quarterly business reviews to do exactly that, to sync up, to make sure that, hey, look, what does good look like to you in 90 days? What do you need to have happen in order for you to definitively, there we go, say, this is awesome. We crushed it in Q1, Q3, whatever, right? What would have to be true in order for you to be able to say that? And then I listen and go, got it. Okay, so in your mind's eye, that's the target. That's the bullseye. Got it. Okay, cool. Let me help create a plan that reverse engineers to that end result. And then we work on it together, right? Now what's happening? We're speaking the same language and we're driving the same direction. That's critical. That's mission critical. But on a monthly basis, you have to remember, even though you have the destination in mind, you need to give them progress, like updates. Hey, this is where we're at. Remember, you're trying to get to XYZ at whatever at the end of the quarter. Here's where we're at. Here's what needs to happen next. That's one of my most favorite phrases ever, my friends, is the next step is. The next step is. If you are in any kind of consultative environment where you have clients relying on you for instruction, direction, information, transformation, whatever, it is imperative that you always guide them with the next step is. Because here's the reality. Information is essentially free now. You can go online, you can Google it, you can go on YouTube, you can go onto ChatGPT, you can go onto any of those LLMs and start searching away and get a whole bunch of information, right? Information is not what people lack. We are actually drowning in information. What people are lacking is context. What do I do with this information in a way that's actually going to help me in a meaningful, sequential, efficient way possible? Like, what's the fastest way to get to the end result? Now, the reality is with AI these days, you're going to get that pretty cleanly. So what's the difference? Why should somebody come to you for a solution if they can just simply self-guide their way through some kind of conversation with an AI, right? Well, the AI lacks context over time, number one. And number two, we have to remember that emotional component, right? It's not just an informational exchange, it's a transformational one. It's an emotional one even, right? So where we can connect with AI through logic, we have to remember that there is still an emotional connection being made. And most people, not all, but most people would prefer to work with a human that knows them, that genuinely loves them even, right? And that wants the best for them and has a piece of empathy woven through the information and has all those little nuances along the way that, simply talking to your computer, you're just not going to get, period. You're just not, right? And so there's still the need to talk to people and have that emotional connection, but we have to remember that we've got to paint the picture forward for people and then use that phrase. You're welcome to take it. The next step is. When people feel that level of confidence, it's like an anchor. They're like, they can rest in that solitude and that comfort of knowing, I know what the next step is. I have clarity. The human brain does not like ambiguous things. It doesn't like to not know what the next step is. So when you can come into a relationship and help paint the picture forward 30 days and then 60 days and then 90 days and more in advance and say the next step is, you are drawing the client through the relationship. You're making it easy for them to say yes month after month after month. And it's not a gotcha type of thing. It's not a manipulative type of thing. It's genuinely providing them what ultimately, even at the subconscious level, what their brain is craving, which is certainty. Certainty is like gravity. When someone has it, people are drawn to it because so few people feel that in their life and certainly in their business. Most people's businesses, they're just kind of like out in the ocean on a rudderless boat, getting thrown around all over the place by waves, wind, and whatever. And when they can find somebody who's like a lighthouse with some direction and certainty, hey, if you come this way, if you follow me, you are going to end up in the right spot in a safe place and getting to where you want to go as quickly and in the most direct path possible. And when you have that certainty, people are naturally drawn to it, but you've got to paint the picture. And that's ultimately what I wanted to leave you with, is really understanding that it's not just what you are doing today or this week or even this month that ultimately is going to matter as much as their certainty to the future. If you can help paint that picture for your client and guide them along the way, you will have a customer for life, because they realize they'll associate their forward progress, their future, to their alignment with the relationship with you. And when you have that, it's great, because then you, as the person providing that direction, can invest more into it, right? If you know, hey, look, we've got a 90-day game plan here together. We've got a 6-month game plan together. Let's go after it. Well, if you know you've got their buy-in, then what's that doing for you, right? You're naturally inclined to really want to dig in and deep and help them get there, because you are now like personally invested into their success, knowing that they're depending on you all along the way. When you share that language, when you share that vision of what the end result looks like, it's better for them and ultimately easier for you. All right. I hope this helps, my friends. I'm going to be doing these every once in a while just to draw from insights from the book. If you haven't gotten the book, there's a link below. You're welcome to get it. It's cheap. I purposely made it stupidly cheap to get, honestly, but it truly is a guide. It's an implementation guide for your client services experience. I hope you get it, because it's, like I said earlier, it's only getting more expensive and only more challenging to attract high quality clients in such a noisy market space, which means once you finally earn that relationship, you need to keep that relationship. And the exceptional experience is one of the absolute best ways to do it. We're here to help you if you need it. But either way, you've got an action plan waiting for you in this book. I hope you get it. We'll talk soon. Take care. Love you guys. Cheers.